Most people are already dreaming about their spring launches and feeling that fresh energy right now. And I love that for us. I really do. This is my favorite time of the year. There's just something about this time of year that just makes you want to blow the doors open and start something new. But here's what I've learned the hard way, I might add, that if our business backend is still carrying the weight of what we didn't finish in Q1, all that fresh energy is just going to slam right into our old chaos. You know what I'm talking about. The cluttered inbox, the disorganized files, the same workflows that kind of work but don't. So before you go making any big plans for Q2, before you build that big launch strategy or that content calendar or dream up this new offer, let's just talk for a few minutes about something that's completely unsexy but wildly powerful, a back-end audit. I know. Stay with me though. Here's the thing about Q1 that a lot of people don't really talk about. It is simultaneously the most hopeful and the most chaotic quarter for solopreneurs. We come in January with big intentions, and then February hit and things got real. And now here we are in March, staring down the last few weeks before Q2 starts. And there's a very good chance that your business backend is still carrying the residue from some of that. And I don't mean that it's messy. I mean that it's quietly costing you your energy every single day. There's a reason that you feel this low grade tension when you open up your laptop, a reason that you can't quite settle into deep work, a reason that your evenings feel like bracing instead of resting. Your nervous system is picking up on the unfinished tasks, those loops in the back end, the unsorted files, the inbox that becomes your to-do list, the workflows that live in your head instead of somewhere that you can actually trust. So the beginning of spring is not just some calendar event. It's a natural reset point. And if you do a little intentional cleaning now, before the season actually shifts, you'll feel that difference in your body before you ever see it in your metrics. So today we're going to talk about 3 backend bottlenecks to audit right now, the quick wins that you can implement this week, and how clean infrastructure is actually what creates spring freedom, not a vision board. Infrastructure. The first bottleneck is the one that I hear about the most, and it is the one that most people have the most complicated relationship with, email. Now, I'm not here to tell you to get to inbox zero. I do not subscribe to that, pun intended. What I am asking you to do is to audit your relationship with your inbox, specifically whether your inbox has quietly become your to-do list or your project management folder or your filing cabinet or all 3 of them. Because if it has, this is what it may be costing you. Every time you open up your email and you see a message that represents an unfinished task, your brain is registering that as an open loop. This is actually a well-documented psychological phenomenon called the Zeigarnik effect, the brain's tendency to fixate on unfinished tasks, far more than completed ones. I did a whole video on this and I'll link it below because it is genuinely fascinating and a little bit humbling once you understand what your brain's been doing. But the short version of this is that open loops are cortisol triggers. So your body is treating an unfinished task the same way that it treats an unfinished conversation, with the low-grade sense of incompletion sitting there, that just sits there buzzing. And when your email is full of them, that buzz is running in the background all day long. The audit question for your email is simple. Are there tasks living in your email, decisions you've been avoiding, things that you've been using for your inbox to remind you? If so, this is your first quick win. Spend 20 minutes this week moving every action item out of your inbox and into a dedicated task system. Doesn't matter what that system is. Whatever works for you. It can be a Google Doc, a spreadsheet, Asana, Trello. It doesn't matter what system you use, where you put it, so long as it's one that you're going to use. What matters is that your inbox is for communication, not storage. The second bottleneck is digital files. And this one is sneaky because it doesn't really feel urgent until it is, which is always the moment that you need something immediately and you can't find it. So here's the audit question for your files. Can you find any document in your business in 30 seconds or less? Not 3 minutes, not I know it's here somewhere, 30 seconds. If your answer is no, then your files may be creating friction with your nervous system that your nervous system is absorbing every single day. Every search is a small interruption. Every where did I put that is a cortisol spike. And research tells us that every interruption takes an average of 23 minutes to recover from that cognitively. So you take 10 minutes looking for a file, but your brain takes 23 minutes to get back into that deep work of what you were originally working on. This math is not working in your favor, my friends. The quick win here is to not reorganize everything overnight. That's a recipe for a half-finished project and more chaos. The quick win is to just pick one folder, just one, and give it a clear, simple structure. Client files, templates, content drafts. Pick the one that cost you the most when disorganized and just start there. One folder, 30 seconds to find anything in it. That's the goal. All right, my friends, the third bottleneck is the one that hides the most: workflows. Specifically, the workflows that live in your head instead of somewhere that you can actually use them. Here's what I mean. Most solopreneurs have systems that run, processes that run repeatedly: client onboarding, content creation, following up on inquiries, sending an invoice, email marketing, and most of those processes exist entirely as mental muscle memory. You know how to do them, you've done them 100 times, but they're not written down anywhere. They're not documented. They are not something that you could hand off to somebody so they could repeat it consistently or return to after a 2-week break without having to reconstruct from scratch. The audit question for your workflows is this: if you had to step away from your business for 2 weeks and come back, which processes would feel like starting over? Those are your undocumented workflows, and they are living rent-free in your brain right now. And here's the nervous system piece that I really want you to sit with. Undocumented workflows create what I call cognitive holding. Your brain is quietly holding all of the instructions for every one of your processes alongside everything else that it's managing. It's using working memory to store things that could be stored somewhere else. And that constant background holding is exhausting in a way that doesn't announce itself. It shows up in that vague, tired feeling that comes on days even when you actually didn't do that much work. So the quick win here is to not document everything. It's to pick your single most repeated process, the thing you do most often, and spend 15 minutes documenting it, writing them down, typing them out, or recording your screen as you're doing it with using platforms like Guide, Scribe, Loom. Just get it out of the head. That one document will free up more mental space than you expect. I want to tell you something that one of my clients said to me after we did this exact work together. She said, I thought that getting organized was going to feel like homework. I was dreading it, but it actually felt like taking a backpack off that I didn't even know I was wearing. And that is exactly it. When your email is a communication tool instead of a task dumping ground, when your files have a home and you can find anything in 30 seconds, when your most important workflows are documented somewhere outside your brain, your nervous system exhales. Not metaphorically, physically. Your shoulders drop, your breathing gets longer. You stop dreading Monday morning because your back end is holding things for you instead of you holding everything. And that is what creates spring freedom. Not the vision, not the strategy, not the new offer idea, the infrastructure underneath all of it. The clean, simple, trusted systems that make everything else possible. That is what you're building when you're doing this work. So here's what I want to leave you with today. Pick one of these three, just one. If your inbox has become your to-do list, start there. If you can't find your files in 30 seconds, start there. If you have a critical workflow living in your brain, get it documented. You do not have to overhaul everything before spring arrives. You just have to start one thing and finish it and feel what it's like to have one less open loop in your body. And if you want support doing all three and building out your business backend in a way that actually holds, that's exactly what Strategic Blueprint is. It's my 5-week program for solopreneurs who are ready to clean up their business backend and calm their nervous state at the same time, because these two are not separate, my friend. They never were. The link will be in the description. No pressure, just an open door. But go do the one thing and come back and tell me which one you started and finished, which one you did. I genuinely want to know. And if you want to understand why every system you've tried before didn't stick, it's not because you didn't do anything wrong. And it's something that most productivity coaches miss altogether. That is exactly what my next video is about. I'll link it right here. Watch that one next, my friends. It may answer some questions that you didn't even know you had. All right, my friends, stay gold.